Okay. Good evening, everyone. How are you?
Good evening, Rolf.
Good evening, Rolf. Good evening.
Hello,
Everyone
Rob.
well?
Hello.
Hello, Liz.
How are you?
Is everyone well?
Baruch
Baruch
Hashem.
Hashem.
Jeffrey, how's it? How are you? It's so nice to see you, Jeffrey.
Baruch Hashem, we're together again.
Another year, we're starting again. Sefer Bereishit, we're starting again, all the cycle from the beginning. I'm just preparing myself here. How are you guys all doing?
Baruch Hashem, all good.
I see Dr. Les with us. Dr. Les, thank you very much for loading and uploading for us all the showrooms.
It's such a pleasure, Rob.
Good. Who else with us? I see that's John with us. Who's John? That's something that I always not sure. Who else with us? Gabriel with us. I see Louis with us, and I see a dot with us. I don't know who's the dot. So anyway, just to say to everyone, hi everyone. We're going to start the show soon, but first, Dr. Les is a custom for us for years, not years, but for months, that Dr. Les give us all the news that's happening in Eretz Israel. So, B'chavo, Dr. Les, we're waiting to hear the news from Eretz Israel.
Okay, so I'll just tell you, it's it's actually from outside Eretz Israel, but it's very, very, very important. They had today and yesterday is the 80th commemoration of what happened in Babi Yar in Kiev, in Ukraine. And I was there with my wife in 2016, and they had a monument of children. It's amazing, but they had nothing about that they were Jewish. But my wife showed me on the head, it was a Jewish sculpture of the boy. It had a yarmulke engraved on the hair. You saw a little yarmulke. So if you didn't look close, you wouldn't have known. But until when it was under the Soviets, Babi Yar had no Jewish, nothing. You didn't even know that Jews were over 32,000 Jews. They say even between 32 and 34,000 were massacred in 2 days. And what's happening is now they do have a very big menorah and a very big memorial, but they have the president of the Ukraine, and his name is Zelensky, and he's actually Jewish. He's proudly Jewish, and he's the president of Ukraine. So he's going to be next week. They're going to have a international memorial, Herzog, and quite a few Israeli delegates will be there. Sharansky will be there. And Sharansky actually comes from the Ukraine. But to think that Zelensky, the president of the Ukraine, who would have believed that they'd one day have a Jewish president? It's amazing. So there's some very positive things. And tonight, just for our soccer players out there, Maccabi Haifa are playing a Berlin team in the stadium that Hitler built for it was for the Olympic Games in 36. And that's Maccabi Haifa in soccer it's a Euro League. And in basketball, Maccabi Tel Aviv are playing Bayern Munich. And
Bayern Munich?
Yeah, it's in basketball. This is in basketball for the Euro champions. So, who would have thought that we'd have an Israeli team like 80 years ago? It's Nissim. It really is Nissim.
הכל ניסים ונפלאות. ניסים ונפלאות. Baruch Hashem. Dr. Les, thank you for all the beautiful news that you always give us.
Thank you.
And you always give us good news. Baruch Hashem. Baruch Hashem.
But it is Nissim, right? It's total Nissim.
Yeah, הכל ניסים ונפלאות. השתבח שמו לעד. I see that Mark with us. I see that Stephen Kabetnik join us. Hello, Marky. How are you?
Hello, Rob.
How are you?
Good.
Yeah, I'm just a bit tired, but I'm okay. I'm a bit tired, but I'm okay. I think that I have too much. The Yom Tov was
your time.
I am tired. I am tired. Because to start the first day of work after that spiritual holiday I'm exhausted. Not that I worked hard, but all the running, all the thing that we have to do, that was too much. Anyway, Baruch Hashem. Okay, בעזרת השם, נעשה ונצליח, והשם עלינו ברחמיו ירוויח. We're going to dedicate the shiur in memory of Esther Kadem Bat Ketzia, Mordechai ben Rahma, Harav Avraham Chaim ben Eliezer Yaakov, Tamar bat Zehava, Rachel bat Malka Sultana, Yaakov Salomon ben Farha, Dvorah Ruth bat Beila, Vechaim Eliyahu ben Ishayahu. Please God that the shiur will be to uplift their soul, and may HaKadosh Baruch Hu will uplift their soul to the place that they're supposed to be. Be'ezrat Hashem. Also, I would like to dedicate the shiur in health of Liora Bat Miriam, Menashe Naji ben Farha, Orna Bluma Bat Miriam, Harav Avraham ben Marima, Harav Shlomo Yehuda ben Dalia, Harav Moshe ben Deborah, Israel ben Zisa, Mordechai David ben Leah, Yosef ben Esther, Dvorah Bat Esther, Tzadok ben Sarah, and also Shulamit Bat Haya Shein Alea. Please God, refuah shlema to all of them. So, בעזרת השם, נעשה ונצליח, והשם עלינו ברחמיו ירוויח. So first of all, בסימנה טובה. סימנה טובה, it means בסימן טוב. We have to thank HaKadosh Baruch Hu for his mercy and compassion that he merits us to start again, another cycle, to study again, to study the Holy Torah again, Sefer Bereishit. So the first verse starts like this. Bereishit bara Elohim et hashamayim ve'et haaretz. Sorry, it's just that I have in my Chumash, there's too many commentary, so I have to skip at least 4 or 5 pages. Okay, bechavod Louis. Louis, I think that you muted.
Oh, you're right, Rolf. In the beginning of God's creating the heavens and the earth.
So the Torah tells us at the beginning, HaKadosh Baruch Hu created heaven and earth. That's on Pshat of the Dvarim. And we have to understand what's happening here. We have to understand, first of all, like this. The word Bereshit starts with the letters Bet. Why dafka the letters Bet? Why did HaKadosh Baruch Hu started the Torah, the Holy Torah, with the letters Bet, not with the letters Aleph? That's the question that many of the Mefarshim ask. And Rabotai, there is over 10,000 explanation, commentary. Why dafka the letters Bet? Why dafka Bet? So Be'ezrat Hashem, Ayom will bring some idea. Some of them I mentioned in the past. Some of them may be going to be new for you. And some of them also new for me. So we have to understand, why does it start with the letters Bet, first of all? So we have to understand, and I'm going to start now, Rabotai, with what Ari HaKadosh said. Rabbi Yitzhak Luria Ashkenazi. Rabbi Yitzhak Luria Ashkenazi, born in Jerusalem 487 years ago. And he wrote a book, Yalkutei Torah. And in his book, he explained like this. Listen what he said. I'm speaking to you now a bit mystical, because I see that I asked some of the people, are you people enjoying this mystical? And many people said to me, we love it. So I decided to bring a little bit of not that I understand, I don't understand Kabbalah, but a little bit what Chazal speak about in a head letter, just to understand for us what it means. And say, Kadosh, there is what we call Olamot Abiyah. And I will explain what it means, Abiyah. He said that there is 4 different worlds. There is the world of nobility, the world of creation, the world of creativity, or the world of form, whatever you want to call it in English, and the world of action. The world that we live in, that's the world of action. The world of nobility is the highest level world that there is. That's the highest. It's up in heaven. We don't understand that. The world of form or creativity, that's the Kadosh Baruch Hu created the world, the creation. That's how Kadosh Baruch Hu created the world. That's the second. The third level is Olam HaYetzirah, the world of creativity. That Kadosh Baruch Hu created the world. The fourth world, and that's the lowest world that we live on it, it's this world, the world of action, Olam HaAsiyah, that we have to create it. And say Ari Kadosh, you know why the Torah starts with the letters Bet? Because the world of nobility, that it's Olam HaAtzilut, Atzilut, its nobility, start with the letters Aleph. What it means, Atzilut? It's all spirituality. It's come to tell you that the world, there is spiritual world that we don't understand. Not here, up in heaven. Whatever world that we have here, by the way, the mystical Rabbi explained, there is up in heaven. Whatever mitzvah that you make here, you created a world up in heaven that it's spirituality. So he said that we living in a world of action, Olam HaAsiyah. So you cannot start with spirituality. You have to start with the physicality, because we're living in a world here. That this world is Olam, that the creative world, Abriya, that being created, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu created it. Therefore, we start with the letters Bet. That's on Pshat of the Dvarim. That's me. Let's summarize what Ari HaKadosh say, and let's try to explain. That he said that there is a high world, that it's very spiritual, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu created, and it's above the Olam HaBriya, the world of creation. Because when HaKadosh Baruch Hu created this world, it's physical. Above it, there is a spiritual world. Therefore, you cannot start with the letters Aleph. You have to start with the letters Bet, that's Olam HaBriya. But HaKadosh Baruch Hu created the world with Bet. Okay, I saw another commentary, very interesting, that Rabbi Mordechai Robio, born in the 16th century, 17th century, a matter of fact, because it was between the 16th, but it's more close to the 17th century, in the city of Jerusalem. And in his book, Shemen HaMaor, the oil that light, that's if I translate the name of the book. He bring in what Hazal tell us in the Gemara in Masechet Sota in page 9, folio 1. Listen to that. Hazal there in the Gemara tell us, when Talmai HaMelech came to the elderlies, to the skinny, and he asked them to translate the Sefer Torah. And he put them in a separate room. It's not for them. So how did they start it? The book of Bereishit. They didn't say, when they translated it, they didn't say Bereshit bara Elokim. It say what they wrote, Elokim bara Bereshit. That means the Almighty created first. Well, many of the Mefarshim say, well, why is the elderly said? Why they didn't say first the Almighty created? Why did they have to say the Almighty created first? That's Shala that many of the Mefarshim ask, and we have to understand what's happening here. So I saw a beautiful commentary that bring Rabbi Mordechai Robio, that he said that the Sefer, the Torah, the Sefer Torah that been written, who is it given it? He given it to us. He given it to Bnei Israel. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, when he wrote the 5 books of Moses, the Sefer Torah, if you look all of the Sefer Torah, was for the Jewish people, not for the nation. He said, but when Talmai HaMelech, that wasn't Jewish, when he asked the elderly to translate the Sefer Torah, they cleverly translated like this. By the way, before I continue, I maybe should explain the story of Talmai HaMelech. Talmai HaMelech took the sages and put each one of them in a separate room, and he didn't tell them that they're going to translate. He just took some of them and he put one in this room, one in this room, and he didn't spoke to them before, he didn't prepare them. And on the same day, he told each one of them that they have to translate. And it was Ruach HaKodesh, listen to that, Hazal explained there in the Gemara, that when they translate the Sefer Torah, when they've done the changing, and I will explain now why, they all translated it the same word. It was from Shamayim. It was, Baruch Hashem, it was Se'ada Dishmaya. Kadosh Baruch Hu helped them. So, Talmai HaMelech wasn't Jewish. So saying, Rabbi Mordechai, Rabbi, first thing, when you speak to someone that is not Jewish, how do you emphasize, how you implant in him that there is a creator to the world, but that you come and you say, Elokim bara Bereishit, the Almighty. First you start with Almighty. Why? To implant on him, to how you call it, to like engrave in his mind that he is Almighty. First of all, that Almighty created first. What is he created? He created light, he created dark, he created heaven, he created earth. But first you have to understand that everything being created by who? By the Almighty. But when it's come to us, Bnei Israel, that we have the emunah. What does it say? Bereishit bara Elokim. The Almighty created the world. Bereishit, at the beginning, the Almighty created the world. But when it's come to the Gentile, you have to emphasize, you have to make sure that you're writing that the Almighty created everything first. And that's why it starts with the letters Bereishit, to tell us that we as a Jewish people, because we believe in the Almighty, and we know that the Almighty is one, and we don't need that emphasis that the Almighty created first everything, we can start with the letters Bet, that it said Bereishit at the beginning, because we know that everything comes from the Almighty. HaKadosh Baruch Hu created everything. And that's why the Torah starts with the letters Bet. That's two ideas. There's plenty more ideas that I'm going to share with you. The other idea is that the Zohar HaKadosh brings. The Zohar HaKadosh says that, you know, that why does it start with the letters Bet? Because the letters Bet come to tell you that there is two kind of thing in the world. There is, first of all, Reshit and Bereishit. Reshit is first. Bereishit at the beginning. What does it mean? Bereishit referring to Bina. What is Bina? Intelligent. Reshit referring to wisdom. What's the connection? Said the Zohar HaKadosh like this. A person have to understand that first thing, before he come to study Torah, you have to have the fear of heaven. And if you have the fear of heaven, a person can suddenly understand that he can learn Torah. What does it mean he can understand? He suddenly can understand that this Torah that HaKadosh Baruch Hu given us, he start to get wisdom from it. But to get intelligent from it, to understand the secret of the Torah, okay, that person have to be on a higher level. So first, you have to understand that you have to fear of heaven. And if you have the fear of heaven, that will help you to have wisdom to start studying Torah. But to understand the Torah, you need intelligence. And that's why the Torah starts with the letters Bet, to tell us that if you have the fear of heaven, you have wisdom. And if you have wisdom, the next thing that will lead you to intelligence. And that's why it starts with the bet. Now I'm going to give another idea, more on a pshat. It sounds like pshat, but it's pshat, remez, drash, sod, all beyachad, all the pardes. If we take the letters bet, the letters bet been built like this, that on the top of the bet there is a letter, there is a mark. That means there is a roof. On the side, on the inside, there is also a wall. Underneath, also, there is a wall. Why there is so many marks of the letters bet? But only one side of the letters bet is open to the front. That means the back is closed. On the top is blocked. On the bottom is blocked. The only thing that open in a letters bet, when you look at it forward, what does it come to tell us? The Mefarshim explains something extraordinary. The Mefarshim explain, before you start asking what there is up in heaven, what there is under the earth, what was before the creation, you must first of all focus on what was from the day of the creation onwards. Why? Because it's not in our small brain to understand what there is up in heaven, what there is below the earth, what there is before the creation. Like many people say, what it mean tohu vavohu? What it mean tohu vavohu? With our limited brain, we cannot understand. Therefore, the Torah come and hint to us, and that's the remez now, that don't look what there is up in heaven. Don't look what there is under the earth. Don't look what was before the creation. Nachon, that all of you going to jump and say to me, wait, but Shlomo HaMelech explained, if you really read the book of Shlomo HaMelech explained like this. Shlomo HaMelech saying that there is under the earth, there is 7 worlds. Sorry. That in every word, any one of those worlds, there is certain people, different people living. We don't understand that. I'm just telling you what he said because I read it, not that I understand. So under earth, there is another 7 worlds. The same like we have 7 heaven. But do I understand what is 7 heaven? No, we don't understand. The same like we don't understand what there is in a 7 heaven. It doesn't mean that we can understand what there is underneath the earth. And it also doesn't mean that we, with our limited brain or with our limited mind, can understand what was before the creation. Therefore, the Torah comes and start the Torah with the letters bet. The Torah actually starts with the letters bet. Why? For the simple reason. Don't search. Don't try to be Ober Chochem. You want to ask question? Our Torah is all about question. But first of all, if you're such a Talmid Chacham, start to ask the question from the beginning of the creation onwards. What was before? Not many people can even look into it. That even those that touch Kabbalah, those people that touch the mystical Torah, battling with that. And we know that Hazal tell us, Arba'a nichnesu lapardes. 4 sages into the Pardes. Pardes is Pshat, Remez, Drash, Sod, that they're gone up to heaven. They wanted to understand how did HaKadosh Baruch Hu created the world, what there is up in heaven, what there is under the earth, what was before the creation. And 3 of them got hurt. One of them dead, one of them become completely cuckoo, the other one become a kofir, a non-believer. The only one that survived it is Rabbi Akiva. Nichnas b'shalom v'yatza b'shalom. That means he understand and he didn't go on because you can't, with our limited mind, we can't understand What is it? Therefore, the Torah come and tell us, before you start studying and you want to become a great Talmid Chacham, nothing wrong with that. It's a great thing. We all obligated to study Torah. We all must study Torah. But before you start jumping to the higher level, start from the creation onwards. What was before, what was on top, what there is under, leave it aside. This is not for you. It's above you. This is too much for you to understand. Therefore, the Torah starts with the letters bet. And now we can understand a little bit, just a little bit. Why is the Torah starting with the letters bet? The Torah also tells us something very interesting in verse 5. Louis, let's read verse 5. ויקרא אלוהים לאור יום, ולחושך קרא לילה, ויהי ערב, ויהי בוקר, יום אחד.
God called to the light day, and to the darkness he called night. And there was an evening, and there was a morning one day.
Okay. If you look here, the Torah tells us, ויהי ערב, ויהי בוקר, יום אחד. אחד. It doesn't say יום ראשון. And I saw a commentary of Rabbi Meir Simcha, a Kohen Mitvins, that's the Or Sameach. And he born 175 years ago in Lita, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I think in Lita or Vilna, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it was Vilna or Lita, I'm not sure. Okay? And he asked like this. And he asked in his book, Meshech Chochmah, he wrote the book Meshech Chochmah, and he asked, wait, I don't understand. It said, Vayi Erev, Vayi Boker, Yom Echad. Why don't say it was a Sunday, the first day of the creation? Do you understand the question? You should say, Vayi Erev, Vayi Boker, Yom Rishon. Why? Because after that it say Yom Sheni. But here it say Yom Echad. That's the question of remember the Or Sameach, Rabbi Meir Simcha Kohen Mitvins. And he answered like this. He said that here the Torah tells us that was something extraordinary happened. You know what's happened in the world? Say the Or Sameach, that when HaKadosh Baruch Hu created the world, you know what's happened? HaKadosh Baruch Hu, when he created the world, was a special light. What is that light? It's called Ta'or HaGanuz. What it mean, Ta'or HaGanuz? It means the hid away light. What is that light that we're talking about? Say the Or Sameach was a special light. That light, people can see what's going to happen. That means that they can see, they can live in Jerusalem and they can see what's happening in United States, in Russia, in South Africa, in Japan, in Australia. That means that light, it's kind of a Holy Spirit. Okay, if we translate it like this. Said the Or Sameach, HaKadosh Baruch Hu saw that will come a generation of the flood, and then the generation of the Palaga. What's the difference between them? I will explain that. And those generations going to do so much averut, so much sinning, that if I give them that kind of wisdom and that kind of intelligence, they're just going to destroy everything. So what's happened? HaKadosh Baruch Hu take that wisdom and took that intelligent light and he hid it away. Hazal tell us in a Gemara. Hazal tell us that he hid it away for the future, for the tzaddikim. Now, we said that we're going to explain Dor HaMabul. Dor HaMabul is the generation of the flood, that they sin with immorality. The Dor HaPalaga, they build the Tower of Babel. What's the difference between both of them? About that? First of all, we have to understand that. And if I'm not mistaken, Netivot Shalom, the book of Netivot Shalom. Yeah, Rabbi Shalom Misloni, Rabbi Shlomo Misloni brought it. And he said it like this. If you take Dora Mabul, what was the sin? Ben Adam lahavero, between man and his fellow friend. Dora Palaga, that they build the Tower of Babel, it's between Adam Lamakom, between man and the Almighty. The sin was. Because in Dora Mabul, they didn't have any problem with the Almighty. All they done, they harm each other. Dora Palaga, they wanted to become, they wanted to become above Hashem. Why? Because they knew the name of the angels. What it means, the name of the angel? For example, to tell the sun to work, to sunrise, HaKadosh Baruch Hu have an angel in charge about it. To tell the sun to sunset, there's an angel in charge about it. You understand? To tell the star to start being in the sky, there's an angel in charge about it. And they knew all this stuff. And they say, you know what? We don't need HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We know all the name. We can tell those angels what to do, and they'll do. And then we're going to be in control of the world. HaKadosh Baruch Hu say, yes, that's it. Is that? No problem. He changed the angel, and he changed their jobs. And that's what's happened with Dora Palagan. Obviously, he changed the languages that they didn't communicate, because until then was one language. So come Rabbi, the Or Sameach, Rabbi Meir Simcha Cohen Mitlein, and he said like this. And he said that this light, that special light, HaKadosh Baruch Hu saw will be those generations that's going to cause so much sorrows in the world. I need to hidden it from them. Because if they're going to use it, it's going to be a disaster. So what has he done? For the future to come, when the Mashiach comes, Be'ezrat Hashem, he'll given us this special light that we can see in our eyes, with our physical eyes, what's happening in America. Although that we here in South Africa, we can see with our physical eye. What do you mean physical eye? Not physical. We can have the spirituality to see with our eyes what's going to happen. That's what does it mean. That means that he took that spirituality from me. That's all. Ado saw in the book that wrote Rav Yoram Abargel in Imre Noam, he said that, you know what? A matter of fact, the mystical rabbi revealed to us, listen to that the tzaddikim, in every generation, there is Lamed Vav tzaddikim. That means 36 tzaddikim. HaKadosh Baruch Hu actually given him that's Or Adonus, that's hidden light. And they can see, and they can sense with the spirituality what's going to happen in the world, and they know. So that means that if you take what the mystical rabbi tell us, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu took it away. But those tzaddikim that live on this earth, HaKadosh Baruch Hu given them the eyes to see what's going to happen. That's meaning he given them spiritual eyes, not physical eyes, like we have. They can see what's going to happen. So now we can understand what it means, Vayi Erev Vayi Boker Yom Echad. Okay, what it means Echad. Now also, we have to understand that if we look at all of the creation that HaKadosh Baruch Hu done, if we look what's happening, the Torah actually tells us exactly. On the first day, HaKadosh Baruch Hu created day and life. And every day, HaKadosh Baruch Hu created something else. Why? Many of the Mefarshim ask, why is HaKadosh Baruch Hu have to put so much emphasis in? And the Torah that doesn't waste any letters, okay? That's Chas v'Shalom to waste. Why? Hazal asking that question. Why did HaKadosh Baruch Hu put so much emphasis on what he created in every day, what was before? Why? What difference does it make? say HaKadosh Baruch Hu created the entire world. No. What HaKadosh Baruch Hu created on the first day, on the second day, and the third day, and etc. What difference does it make? Why did HaKadosh? So the Mefarshim explains something extraordinary. Because the HaKadosh Baruch Hu knew will come a generation that have a lot of speculation. That we have the one idea that some scientists say that the world created from a Big Bang. That means two big rock collision one to each other, and they explode, and the world being created. You know, take imagination. Take for yourself imagination. Just analogy for us to understand. If we take what's happened in 9/11, that's collision. What happened after that? Nothing left. So for that science that they call him a science, you know, he studied for so many years. For me, he's the most stupid person on earth to think like that. That from two big rocks that hit each other, the world can create it. And from the day of the creation, that it's 5,782 years ago, the world didn't need maintenance, and the world doesn't need maintenance. Have to be some Meshugana to think like that from two rocks. I read another article just for you to understand that the guy said that the world, a matter of fact, being created from a bean. That the bean grow up. You must see the theory that he wrote. It's just stupidity. When I read it, I saw that it's stupidity, but I wanted to understand how people that call themselves scientists, can write so much stupidity. And people believe it. So the Torah come and put the emphasis on Seh Hazal, what HaKadosh Baruch Hu created every day. What does it mean? That HaKadosh Baruch Hu knew will come people that have a lot of different speculation. That they will say this one created from that, the world created from that. HaKadosh Baruch Hu come and say, no, I'm not going to give you anything to have any doubt. I will tell you what I created on the first day, on the second day, and the third day, and etc. And that's why the Torah put a lot of emphasis to explain to us what HaKadosh Baruch Hu created every day. Let's continue, please, we'll move on with what Hazal tell us, and we'll see something very interesting. Let's look at chapter 27, verse 27. Sorry, I'm skipping because the time running. And we're done. Yeah, 27, and the time just running. The time doesn't wait. So in verse 27, let's look what it said. And look how Hazal explained. ויברא אלוהים את האדם בצלמו. בצלם אלוקים ברא אותו, זכר ונקבה ברא אותם.
So God created man in his image, and in the image of God, he created him, male and female, he created them.
Okay. Here we see that the Torah tells us that the Almighty, when he created Adam Arishon, Adam, he created him in the image of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, in his image. And I saw a beautiful commentary that brought by Rabbi Eliyahu Davidash. I don't know how many of you heard about him. Rabbi Eliyahu Davidash, he was a great Kabbalistic. First of all, let me give you a bit of history about him. He born in the 16th century. He born in Jerusalem. He lived in Tzfat. He was one of the main student of the Ramak, Rabbi Moshe Cordovero. And he wrote the book It's a very, very heavy book. It's called Rashit Chokhmah. It's a very mystical book. And B'Sha'ar HaYirah, Sha'ar HaYirah, how did he put it? He put it in chapters. So he called it Sha'ar HaYirah, the gate of fear. Okay, the fear of heaven. Okay, he doesn't call it chapter. He given him Sha'ar. He call it the gate. So in a gate, what you call it Sha'ar HaYirah, the fear of heaven, in chapter 4. Listen, he asked a question. Rabbi Eliyahu de Vidash, you have to understand, he was one of the biggest mystical rabbi that we have in the 16th century. It's beyond understanding. And he said, wait, one of the 13 principles that we have, and we say that when we say that en lo guf ve'en lo dmut haguf, what it means? That the Almighty doesn't have a body, okay, en lo guf ve'en lo dmut haguf. Not only that he doesn't have a body, he doesn't have an image of a body. So he say, how come the Torah come and tell us, Vayivra Elohim et ha'adam betzalmo, in his image, betzelem Elohim bara oto, in the image of the Almighty, he created him. Man, Adam, unekeva, male and female. I don't understand, said Rabbi Eliyahu de Vidash. That's the question that he asked about this verse. If you tell me that the Almighty doesn't have any images, if you tell me that the Almighty doesn't have not only Elo, how we said, Elo guf, Elo dmut haguf, he doesn't have a body and he doesn't have an image of a body, why you tell me here the Torah tell us specifically that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, when he created Adam, he created him in his image. Do you understand the question, Rabota? If you don't understand, please stop me, so I will explain the question, because it's a bit heavier. So say Rabbi Eliyahu de Vidash like this. He said, what the Torah tried to explain to you, it's not the physical body. HaKadosh Baruch Hu have certain character traits. One of them, it's called that when we say the word Elokim, it's referring to Midat Adin. That means the character trait of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that is judgment. What does it mean, judgment? That he judged the word strongly. But when we say Adnut, that it's Yudke Vavke, says Hashem Havaya, that means it's referring to the character trait of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that it's mercy and compassion. Say Rabbi Eliyahu de Vidash, say Rabbi Eliyahu de Vidash something like this, that when HaKadosh Baruch Hu created the world, he created Adam and Hava. What does it mean, Adam and Hava? He created Adam, that from Adam came all the rest of the population in the world. In every human being, he created that we have the image of Hashem. What does it mean, the image? The character trait of Hashem. It's not the image, the physical image, it's the spiritual part that there is in HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That means that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, when he created human being, he given him all the character trait that there is, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu has. And every human being has them. And as a Jew, one of our things is to have mercy and compassion. Ma ani rahum afatah hanun. Ma ani hasid afatah hasid. What does it mean? Chazal tell us that here the Torah come and tell us that HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants you actually to be the same like him, to use his character trait. And when we spoke about the Ushpizin, if you remember, we brought all of them, each one. That one was Chesed, that one was Amudah Chesed, Yitzhak Avinu was Gvura, that it's Din, judgment. We brought that Yaakov Avinu was Tiferet. What it means, Tiferet? That Tiferet means that's the entire Torah. Tam, Milshon Tam, Ish Tam Yoshev Oalim. And that's what it's called, the Torah come and tell us. Say Rabbi Eliyahu Davidash, what the Torah tell us, בצלם אלוקים ברא אותו. What does it mean, הוא ברא אותו? He created human being with his own character trait. That's what the Torah comes to tell us. Not that Chas v'Shalom, the physical, because the Kadosh Baruch Hu is not physical. It doesn't have a body and it doesn't have an image of the body. So now we can understand that there is no contradiction. Okay, so now we understand that, Baruch Hashem. Let's move on. Let's move on and we'll see what it says in verse 31. Louis, verse 31. In verse 31, 1 second, I'm getting there, Louis. I'm sure that you faster. It's just that my book is full of commentary, so I need to go slow. In verse 31, the Torah tells us, וירא אלוהים את כל אשר עשה, והנה טוב מאוד, ויהי ערב, ויהי בוקר, יום השישי.
And God saw all that he had made, and behold, it was very good. And there was an evening, and there was morning, the sixth day.
Okay. If you look at the Parsha, you'll see that every day of the creation, HaKadosh Baruch Hu said, Vayitov, V'hineh tov. Except on Tuesday, that the word tov mentioned Pa'amayim, twice in the same, on a Tuesday. So that's what he said, Pa'amayim ki tov. But on a Friday, what does it say? V'hineh tov me'od, the word me'od added up. Why? Many of the Mefarshim say, when it's come to the Friday, whatever HaKadosh Baruch Hu created on a Friday, it was tov me'od. If you take the word me'od, mem, aleph, daled, if you turn the word around, you'll get aleph, mem, daled, aleph, daled, mem, adam. Chazal say, and I saw it and read it in a book, that bring it in the name of another commentary that the book called Dovev Siftei Yesharim. And he asked, wait, what it said that HaKadosh Baruch Hu on the sixth day that he created, he referring to Adam HaRishon, because Me'od referring to Adam. We say that if you change the letters, you'll get Adam. Me'od, it means Adam. So you want to tell me whatever HaKadosh Baruch Hu created on the sixth day that he created Adam was Tov Me'od, the best, the very good. Why very good? That's the question of the book Dovev Siftei Yesharim. And immediately many questions become, what, Adam HaRishon didn't sin? What's happening here? So the Mefarshim and Dovev Siftei Yesharim explain it beautifully. He said, whatever HaKadosh Baruch Hu created on a Friday that he referring to Adam HaRishon, it is Tov Me'od. Why? By creating Adam, it's the best. Why? Because HaKadosh Baruch Hu, for example, created animals. HaKadosh Baruch Hu created vegetables. HaKadosh Baruch Hu created fruit. We all know that he created trees, he created animals. HaKadosh Baruch Hu created vegetables. HaKadosh Baruch Hu created wheat. But who uplift all of that? Human being. How? For example, a person take a fruit, and that fruit is a brocha. Bore pri ha'etz, bore pri adama. That means he taking something physical and he uplifted to spiritual. And after that, birkat hane'enim. He take the wheat and he turn it to bread. Hamotzi lechem min haaretz, he said, another brocha. When he finished to eat, he said birkat hamazon. That means that by that HaKadosh Baruch Hu created Adam HaRishon, that's what uplifting the world. That means turning the physical world to spiritual world. That means HaKadosh Baruch Hu created water. When I take a glass of water or glass of cold drink, it doesn't make a difference. And I say she'akol niya bidvaro, I'm actually uplifting the world to a different level, to a spiritual level. The same when I eat meat, the same when I eat bread. The same when I eat vegetables. I say the brocha, the Pacific brocha for it, and I take that thing that it's physical and I turn it to a spiritual. And that's what it says. את כל אשר עשה והנה טוב מאוד. ויהי ערב ויהי בוקר יום השישי. What it means מאוד? מאוד referring to Adam. Because we say that מאוד, if you change the letters, Aleph, Mem, Dalet, Mem, Aleph, Dalet, that's מאוד. If you change it to Aleph, Dalet, Mem, you get Adam. That means only a human being can uplift the world to make it more spiritual. That means the world that we're living here, it's a physical world. But our job is to turn it. And that's what they call it, the world of action. You remember that we start with that. That this olam, ha'asiyah, we can turn it to spiritual. How? By following HaKadosh Baruch Hu. By doing brachot, by doing mitzvot, doing gemilut chesed. Everything that you can do to do good to the world, you change it from physical to spiritual. That means, let's say that the world is 50-50. By that we're doing mitzvot, we're lifting it up to reach to the 100% potential of spiritual world. By that we're doing brachot. And that's what it means. In a verse, Vayera Elokim et kol asher asa, the Almighty saw all what He created. V'hineh tov meod. It doesn't say v'hineh tov. It's not only good, it's tov meod, very good. Why very good? Because He created Adam, and only Adam, only a human being, can turn this world to more spiritual. And now we can understand the verse. Okay, Rabotai, let's move on. How are we doing with time? With time, we're doing Baruch Hashem, okay? Let's do, Louis, let's go to chapter 2, verse 1. ויחלו השמיים והארץ וכל צבאם.
Thus the heavens and then the earth were finished and all their array.
Okay, here HaKadosh Baruch Hu, if you look, that's a few words, we're saying it in a Kiddush. And we have to understand why did I brought this verse. ויחלו השמיים והארץ וכל צבאם. What does it mean? Let me give you an understanding, a little bit of understanding to understand the verse. Analogy. When there is a great artist that draw a beautiful picture, when he finished his picture, when he finished with his art, usually at the bottom he sign, he make some kind of a Mickey Mouse name, and it looks beautiful. By the way, the commentary that I'm going to bring is the commentary of Baal HaAkedah. Baal HaAkedah, it's Rabbi Yitzhak Arama. Rabbi Yitzhak Arama, listen to that history. He born 601 years ago. He born in Spain. It's not sure where he born. The city, I couldn't find where Rabbi Yitzhak Arama, Baal HaAkedah. From Spain, he moved to to Italy, to Napoli, and he died in Napoli. That's where he died. So they call him Baal HaAkedah, Rabbi Yitzhak Arama. Why? Because he wrote a book, Baal HaAkedah Yitzhak. That's the name of the book, Akedah Yitzhak. So they call him Baal HaAkedah. And he actually bringing the Midrash Bereishit Rabbi in chapter 10, verse 2 there, that he asked that question, one of these questions that we spoke. What does it mean by Vayachelu Hashamayim v'Haaretz? So one of the ideas that we said that when an artist make a beautiful picture, he sign at the bottom his name, or when someone manufacture, for example, a clothes, usually you see made in China, you know, or you see a nice watch, Rolex made in Switzerland, Omega made in Switzerland, and etc. Okay? So everyone, when he creates something, he say who made it. He signed. Where is it made? Say Rabbi Yitzhak Arama, here the Torah tell us something extraordinary. The Torah come and tell us that it say here like this, ויחלו השמיים והארץ. הקדוש ברוך הוא finished to create the world. He created the heaven and he created the earth. It's come to tell us something extraordinary. It's come to tell us that when a Jewish person, listen to that, when a Jewish person keeps Shabbos, that is testified that HaKadosh Baruch Hu created the world. The same like the artist testified that he drawn that picture, that art, okay? Or the same like the manufacturer testified that he manufactured that car, that cell phone, that watch, whatever you want to call it. By that we, as a Jewish people, observing Shabbos, keeping Shabbos, we are testifying, okay, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu created the world. And from here, that can lead every person to understand the next question that we're going to speak about. Why is Shabbos so important? The Torah tells us that the person that doesn't keep Shabbat or mehalel Shabbat, desecrate the Shabbat, and in publicly, the punishment, lo alenu, is death. Okay? Skila, that means stone. But a person that steal, a person that murder, okay, if there is no witnesses, nothing happened to them. But if there is witnesses that someone steal, okay, he doesn't sit in jail, you have to pay double. And the Mefarshim say, what kind of a law is it? That's come to teach us something very important. That the Shabbos is so important that HaKadosh Baruch Hu tell us that on the 7 days, I'll stop creating the world. HaKadosh Baruch Hu didn't work. בעשרה מאמרות נברא העולם. HaKadosh Baruch Hu created the world with 10 sentences. That means HaKadosh Baruch Hu come and tell us, ויחלו השמיים והארץ. I finished to create the heaven and the earth. You know how you can testify that I created the world, you as a Jew, and I'm referring to me, that you stop doing any melacha. By that we don't do any melacha on Shabbos, that's the signature that we're putting on a beautiful art of the creation. And that's what it means, Rabbi Yitzhak Arama. When a Jew observed the Shabbos, he put his signature of HaKadosh Baruch Hu on a creation. And that's why it's so important, Shabbos. With your permission, let's move on, and we're gonna, how are we doing with time? We have a little bit more time. Let's move to verse 8. Verse 8.
8, okay.
8. Verse 8, chapter 2. Is it
Okay.
verse 8? No, verse 18. Let's do verse 18.
18.
Verse 18, more interesting. Verse 18, very interesting. Yeah. ויאמר אדוני אלוהים, לא טוב היות האדם לבדו, העשה לו עזר כנגדו.
Hashem, God said, it is not good that man be alone. I'll make him a helper corresponding to him.
Come to tell us, that's very interesting. And Rabotai, here we have to learn to appreciate our wife. That's what this verse comes. לא טוב היות האדם לבדו. העשה לו עזר כנגדו. The husband has to appreciate the wife. And the question is like this. When HaKadosh Baruch Hu created all the animals, all the whatever he created, the birds, the animals, everything, he created them with a species. He didn't create them balano. That means that every animal already have double, a male and women. When HaKadosh Baruch Hu created men, he created them singly. And Hazan asked, what is the time to create Adam HaRishon first, single, without Hava? Why not to have a couple? When HaKadosh Baruch Hu created the animal, he created couple, everything, male and female. But when he created male, he created him singly. Why? So the Mefarshim explain on a pshat of the dvarim to understand that it's not too good to be alone. But on a deeper meaning, Rabotai, we have to understand that there is secret here. That quite often, that I'm frightened to say it, but I have to say it. I'm trying not to say it harshly. I'm going to try to say it easily and very gently. That we take an advantage. We take an advantage. So the Torah come and tell us, remember how difficult it was to be alone. So what did HaKadosh Baruch Hu do? He created Adam HaRishon alone, that when Hava come, he will appreciate her, that he will respect her. So that's the job of a husband, to respect his wife. That's on a pshat of the dvarim, that's like this. But that there is another idea behind it. That's quite often the husband take it as a granted whatever he get. But by the way, Rabotai, it's not only for the husband, it's also for the wife. We have to understand from here that the Torah comes to teach us that we must never take things for granted. That HaKadosh Baruch Hu, when he created Adam and Hava at the beginning, so first he created Adam. And he saw that it's not good to be alone. What has he done? No, that he took from his bone, one of his bone, and created a female, that's Hava. But it's come to tell us that it's something very important. It's come to tell us that we mustn't take things for granted. Every human being, isn't it? After a while, the beginning, it's all lovey-dovey, we all love each other, we all will do everything. But after a while, we think that it's obligation. That means that the wife obligated to do it. No, not at all, not at all. We have to respect one each other. The husband obligated to respect the wife, and the wife must respect the husband. Because to be alone, the Torah come and teach us something very important. It's not good to be by himself. So it's come to teach us how much, first of all, the husband. Why am I referring to the husband? Because mainly on this show, we're all male. But the Torah come and tell us that you have to understand that you have to respect your wife. You have to respect your wife and not to take things for granted. Quite often we take it. And also the wife. From time to time, don't forget to say thank you. The husband, all the time, thank you. The husband 24/7, you must say, all of you. And that's the job that the Torah come to teach us, to respect who? The wife. That's what the Torah wants from us. And Be'ezrat Hashem, Rabotai, because the time is late, I would like to wish all of you that you'll have all Be'ezrat Hashem, New Year, Shana Hadasha, a new year that full of bonding, full of respect one to each other, a lot of health, a lot of peace and harmony. Please God that this new year will give us. And the most important, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu will send us Mashiach Tzidkenu speedily in our days, and we'll see the Bet HaMikdash that we're all waiting to see. And then all the Torah's going to disappear. Amen, Ken Yeh Ratzon. If there is any question, Bechavod, please unmute yourself and ask question.
Hello, it's Anthony. How are you?
Hello, Anthony. How are you? Thank you, and you.
Right, thanks. All right, thanks. It says the man called his wife Eve because she had become the mother of all living. Why did Adam call his wife Eve of all names? Why Eve?
Who given? Because Hava, that from her, she was the one that started all the world. What it mean all the world? Because Adam and Hava, Adam by himself, what it mean Em lekol Adam? That means if Hava, if he didn't have Hava, how he will be multiplied? Do you understand? So who's the mother of everything on earth? Who started with? Hava. That's one explanation.
Which means Eve.
Yeah.
That's Eve in English.
Yes.
Eve is the English name.
Yes.
Yes. Hava is in Hebrew. Hava is in Hebrew. But what is the idea behind it? That you have to understand that from Hava, all the world started. By the way, the first mitzvah that we have in Sefer Bereishit, in Parashat Bereishit, is to multiply. That prove, the Torah tell us prove, and many of the Mefarshim ask, prove who's this mitzvah, who's obligated for this mitzvah, is the male. That means a man obligated to find a wife and to have children. A woman not obligated. Anthony, will you mute yourself because there's noise at the back. It's difficult to focus. So Hazal tell us that the male have the obligation to run, to find a wife, to marry, and to multiply. That means that the job of multiplying apply to a male, not to the female. Em kol hai, what it mean em kol hai? That all the living in this world, who started it with? Hava. Because from Hava came, we know, who came? No, Cain and Abel. Remember, Cain and Abel. And then Shet. So come to tell you that from Hava, all the population in the world that you see, Em Kol Hai was Hava. You follow? You understand now, Anthony?
Yes, thanks very much. And one quick other one, the next one it says, and God made Adam and wife garments of skin. What is the garments of skin that God made Adam and Eve?
Okay, very good question. So the Gemara in Masechet Sanhedrin, page 70, folio 2. Gemara in Masechet Sanhedrin, page 70, folio 2. There is a mahloket. First of all, let me explain. When Adam and Eve sinned, it's I think it's in chapter 3. Let me just look here, chapter 3, verse 3, no? One second, let me just look here, no, verse 7, sorry, my mistake. So listen what it says here. The Torah tells us, ותפקחנה עיני שניהם, וידעו כי ערומים הם, ויתפרו עלי תאנה, ויעשו להם חגורות. הקדוש ברוך הוא, after Adam and Rishon, in Hava, Adam and Eve sinned by eating from the tree of knowledge, HaKadosh Baruch Hu opened their eyes, and suddenly they realized that they're naked. That's the Torah tells us, chapter 3, verse 7. Louis, would you mind reading it in English? Anthony asked, we have to answer him.
Just hang on, I'll have to get the place again.
I'll tell you, chapter 3, verse 7.
Chapter 3, verse 7. I was just listening to you. Yeah, chapter 3, verse 7. Yeah, 7, 6. Then the eyes of both of them were open, and they realized that they were naked, and they sewed together a fig leaf and made themselves an apron.
So Anthony asked, what's happening there? You told me that it was, there was, what is it? Naked, really naked, like many of the books of the Goyim say that they're drawing Has v'Shalom, Adam and Hava naked. זה לא קשור. There's nothing. It's not for the Torah. So the Mefarshim explain like this: that when Adam HaRishon, Anthony, listen to it carefully, because if you don't understand, just tell me. When Adam HaRishon, when HaKadosh Baruch Hu created Adam HaRishon, he created them, when it's mean naked, it's mean that there was naked, that they were so spiritual, that not Has v'Shalom, that the body was naked. No, not at all. They didn't have a physical body like we have. And that's where many people mistake. That they have a spiritual body. Okay, but after they sin, okay, they have a fig leaf that they make it. And Hazal in the Gemara, as I mentioned, Masechet Sanhedrin, page 70, folio 2, there Hazal asks, what is that fig leaf that we're talking? Is that what we call a tapua, an apple, etrog, the etrog, you know, or is it geffen? Geffen is, how you call it, grapes, you know what I'm saying? Or se'ora, that's called barley. There Hazal talking about it. What was the close? But later on they come to conclusion that it was all of them. What it mean all of them? Hazal come and tell us that the Etz Te'ena was kind of a tree that have all of those fruit that we mentioned together. That's on Pshat of them. Why must I? That when Adam HaRishon being created, when HaKadosh Baruch Hu created Adam, that's mean Adam, and Hava, that's called, what you call it Eve in English, he created the body, Has v'Shalom, to think physical. It was a spiritual body. Only when they eaten from the tree of knowledge, that body, when the eyes is open, what it mean open? That they can understand good and bad, that the evil inclinations start to penetrate inside them, immediately that spiritual body turned to physical. And they suddenly start to understand that there's nothing to protect them. Do you understand me? Anthony, I hope that I answer your question.
Yes, I do understand. Yes.
Good.
It's a bit
I
clearer.
hope that you understand that. Good. Any other question?
No, sorry, Rabbi Levy.
Yes.
Yes, Stephen, how are you? How are you?
Are you Rabbi Levy?
Baruch Hashem, how are you?
Well, it says that Adam saw from one end of the world to the other. You mean you can see like this throughout the whole, what was I saying? For this height.
So I explained at the beginning of the show, I think that you came late. It's called Oraganuz, the hidden light. What it means, the hidden light? HaKadosh Baruch Hu given him the spiritual eyes. What it means, spiritual eyes? That Adam used to see from one side of the continent to the other side of the continent. From one side of the world to the other side. What does it mean? That HaKadosh Baruch Hu given him spiritual eyes, that they can be in South Africa, but with the spirituality, they can understand what's happening in the United States or in Australia. But when HaKadosh Baruch Hu saw the generation of the flood, the generation of Dora Palaga, that's the one that built the Tower of Babel to go and fight with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, HaKadosh Baruch Hu saw that the world, that those wicked people, and for the future will be wicked people, that will use that kind of spiritual light, negativity. What is he done? He hidden it. Okay? That means, Ganazoto latzadikim. Hazal say, Ganazoto latzadikim, hidden it to the tzadikim. But we explained and we brought that, I brought another commentary that Rabbi Yoram Barzel say, no, there's in every generation there is Lamed Vav tzadikim, there's 36 tzadikim in every generation, and a matter of fact, they have. And I'll give you an example that I didn't bring in a show. You know, the Baba Sali, everyone heard about Rav Israel Abu Hatzira. They came to him once and they said to him, listen, they kidnapped a little boy. And he said to him, the Interpol, the Israeli police, all looking for him all over the world. We can't find him. He said to him, go to New York and that street and number the flat, that's where he is. And the Israeli police, it's a true story. It's called, Yankele. That was his name, Yankele. That his grandparents kidnapped him from his parents in Jerusalem and took him to New York, okay? Because they was worried that the parents wasn't religious enough. So they took him to New York. And the Interpol found it in New York. So we see from here that HaKadosh Baruch Hu given those spiritual eyes to tzaddikim, even now our generation. You follow? And that's what it's called, La'or HaGanuz. Vayi erev, vayi boker, yom echad. What did it mean, echad? Boker, yom echad. It was a special light. And that's called La'or HaGanuz, the special light that HaKadosh Baruch Hu hidden it away for the future to come. When the Mashiach come, and will be no more Yetzer Hara, and no one going to use that evil inclination that Chas v'Shalom will use that spiritual eyes to use it for wrong thing. You follow?
So we'll go back to what it was before the Chet.
Before, when the Mashiach come, it's going to go like before the sins of Adam HaRishon. Any other questions?
That's the spiritual light, the first day. Okay.
Say again.
That's the spiritual light, the first day of creation. The first day was the spiritual light.
For sure.
Not the day we have now. They said the world 5782 years. Yes, it's when does it come from this creation of man?
But the Rambam said, after the Mashiach come, Olam ki minago noeg. The Rambam said that the world will continue to be the same. For example, you have to understand a person that murder, those people that kill, those people that rape, those people that robbed, but they're not going to get punished. They will get punished. Olam ki minago noeg. But the spiritual world will start on 8,000. This is we explained that on Hoshana Rabbah, that every 8 represent above nature. 7 is nature, 8 is above nature. And that's when it's going to be Olam HaNeshamot. What it means Olam HaNeshamot? The world of the soul and the 8,000. We don't understand that. We'll see when it's come. First of all, let's see the Mashiach in our eyes, please God, that we'll merit to see him. After that, we'll worry, because the Mashiach going to do Tchiyat HaMetim, the resurrection of the dead. First, let's see him. We'll merit to see him, and that will be the best. Ezrat Hashem, that we should all merit to see him speedily in our days. And then we'll worry about the rest. If we see him, it's all done. Believe me, then we'll see Bet HaMikdash. We'll live forever. Akol yeh tov. Everything will be good, Be'ezrat Hashem. And he will do peace and harmony in the world. Any other question, Rabotai? If you have any other questions,
yes, Rav. I would like to. I'd like to ask.
5782 is that from creation of man?
I'd like to ask a question to you.
5782
sure.
We learned.
Stephen.
We learned about the marvel. We learned about the destruction. What was the difference between the flood and the marvel? What was the difference? One was immorality, and the other one, which I gather, was major gaiva in the people that think they could be God themselves, basically. So
okay.
My question would be: there was a unity. These people were unified. We had the first and second base of Mikdash. The second was destroyed because of disunity. Now, there was unity here. And Hashem overlooks a lot of things when there's unity amongst people. So the question is, what was the purpose of just separating them, putting them in separate languages, and not, and then reprimanding them in a bad way for doing this? But why separate everybody? because there was a unity. They could have been with the tzaddikim that were perhaps amongst them. There must have been some living in those days, which as we are today. There are tzaddikim living in a world which has gone crazy, and but it must have been like that there. So what was the purpose of separating them and not keeping them together and teaching them?
Okay, very good, very good. The Torah, the word Torah, let's start like this, Jeffrey. The word Torah means menu. The Torah, the word Torah is a menu for us to understand. And when the Torah tells us all of those stories, and they're not stories, Chas v'shalom, is to teach us moral, to teach us something very important. That when a person hurt his fellow friends, that means that the sin between a male, I'm just going to mute because there's a lot of noise at the back. 1 second, and I can't focus. Okay, sorry about that, Jeffrey. I'll continue. When a person harms his friends, what is he doing? He breaks the unity that HaKadosh Baruch Hu creates. He breaks the peace. One of the holy name of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, we know that he has 72 names. One of them is Shalom. Shalom is mean peace. Peace means unity. When you live one with each other with unity, it's peace. When the Dor Mabul harm each other, Ben Adam lahavero, HaKadosh Baruch Hu wiped them off. Completely, nothing left. The only one that left is Noah and his wife and his 3 kids, Shem, Ham, Yefet. And the animal that was in a teva, obviously, and their wife. Okay? When Dora Palaga came, it was door that you have to understand. It wasn't a simple door. It was tzaddikim, but there was very few. It was Noah, that was a tzaddik. Those Hanoch, that was a tzaddik. Vaitalech Hanoch et Elohim. HaKadosh Baruch Hu took him. Why? Because he was frightened. And then was Shem, okay? And later on come Ever, Shem va'Ever, that Yaakov Avinu going to study at the yeshiva, as Chazal explained. But the majority of the people lived in such in harmony, in peace, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu have a nachat from it. He enjoyed it. But he didn't enjoy that they're going to try and turn now his belief in the Almighty, has v'shalom, to believe in a human being, in a power of a human being. Because if you turn it to a power of a human being, what do you become? Arrogant. So what is it going to lead? It will lead eventually, when there is arrogancy, it will lead to separation. Why? Because I'm better than you. And if I'm better than you, you're lower than me. That means that you're not good enough. And then, so what did HaKadosh Baruch Hu say? Instead of punishing you, I'm going to change your language. And I'm going to separate you. Why? Because you lived in peace and harmony. And that's what the world exists on, peace and harmony. I'm not going to destroy it. But because you're going to reach to arrogancy, because each one going to say, Has v'shalom, I can fight, and like the generation of the Dora Palaga build the tower, and the Midrash tell us, Rabotai, listen to that they make a sword and they get up to heaven. And they even manage to put it through over the atmosphere. It's ununderstandable. And they saw blood coming, and they were so happy that they even have an imagination that Has v'shalom, that they harm Kadosh Baruch Hu, the Midrash say. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, with all of his compassion and mercy, didn't destroy them. All what he done, he separated. Because he knew that they're going to lead to a different league. What is going to be the different league? Separation, arrogancy. And if arrogancy comes, that means that I'm better than you. And if I'm better than you, we can't live in peace and harmony. Do you understand me, Jeffrey? I hope that I answer your question. Sorry, I can't hear you. Just have to unmute because it was a lot of noise. Sorry, Jeffrey, just unmute yourself. I can't hear you, Jeffrey. Just unmute yourself. Sorry.
Sorry. Thank you, Rob. It's quite a deep subject. It applies to the way we live in the world today, and
look at the world
what does Hashem do with us today?
Jeffrey, look at the world that we're living today. Why did we? If you look, why people fighting with each other? I'm not talking of people stealing from each other. And in general, faribel. Let's take the word faribel, the Yiddish word faribel. Because he deserved more kavod than I given him. Or I didn't respect him enough, so he's cross. Why? Because he won kavod. And if he won kavod, that means that he's arrogant. Yeah. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So if I don't respect him enough, he have faribel with me. Why didn't give me enough kavod? Why you didn't give me enough yeches? And he think that he deserves more. So what Hazal tell us? Ezu Ashir. Hazal in the Mishnah Masechet Avot. Ezu Ashir. Who's a rich person? Hasameach b'chelko. What it means sameach b'chelko? Whatever he have, he's happy. If you give him respect or you don't give him respect, he's happy. Why? Because he's not worried if you respect him or not. You know why? Because he doesn't care. Because he's humble. And if he's humble, what difference does it make? You follow, Jeffrey?
Yes. Thank you, Rav. I do follow.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
Pleasure. Guys, there's any other question? I don't mind answering. I mean, I'm going to try. Doesn't mean that I can't.
Thanks very much for your answer. It's Anthony. Thanks very much for your answer. We just got cut off there. Thanks very much.
Pleasure.
And I just wanted to know, when you say that after the Amida on Friday night, you sing by should you say that not by yourself, with other people? You shouldn't say it by yourself. Is that correct?
No. When you said Vayachelu Hashamayim va'aretz bechol tzeva'am, you should say it with the Hazan. Why dafka with the Hazan? Why you should all say it together? Hazal say that here you taking and like you're saying an oath, you're taking a test, you testifying that the Almighty created, and that's what we explain. We should say it together, the Hazan, okay, and the congregation together. Why? That we all say that we saying that HaKadosh Baruch Hu created the world. It's like a testify, that we testifying that HaKadosh Baruch Hu created the world. He's the creator. You understand, Anthony?
Yeah, thanks very much.
Pleasure. Rabotai, the time is very, very late. The Shirul took almost 1.5 hours. Yes, Steve.
Is that from the beginning of creation of man or from the beginning of the world?
What? Sorry. I couldn't hear you. Speak loud.
The beginning of creation of man or from the beginning of the first day? The timeline of the world. 5,782 now.
Say again. I'm not sure. What are you asking?
From the beginning of man or for the first day of creation? The year 5782.
57. No. HaKadosh Baruch Hu create the world. Okay? 5782 was from the first day of the creation, not from the day that he created Adam HaRishon.
Okay.
בסדר? בריאת העולם, we call it, okay? The beginning of the creation.
Thanks.
Okay, pleasure. Any other question? No. In that case, Rabotai, I would like to wish all of you a great Shabbos and look after yourself. Enjoy the first Shabbos. We merit again, Rabotai. The Kadosh Baruch Hu have a lot of compassion and mercy on us, giving us another year to enjoy. You know what is it? Another year, Baruch Hashem, we're starting Besiman Tov again, the 5th book of Moses. We have to thank HaKadosh Baruch Hu for all of his compassion and mercy with us. And Be'ezrat Hashem, to wish you all a great Shabbos. Be'ezrat Hashem, this coming Sunday, we'll give a shiur. I didn't choose a subject yet. I need to choose something. Be'ezrat Hashem, we'll see what's happening. Mark, it's so nice to see you. I can see that you're still in Israel by your air condition. That's how they do air condition in Israel. I love it. So I know that you're still in Israel.
Thanks, Rob. Thanks.
How are you all there? How are you doing in Israel?
Baruch Hashem. Baruch Hashem.
Good.
All good. Rob,
In
can I make a
general-
suggestion?
Sure.
I would love to hear a share on the signs of the zodiac.
You mean the star sign?
Yeah. Because I always thought it was a goy concept. And only the last couple of years I heard it in our religion. And I'd like to know more about it, how it works, where it comes from, etc., etc.
Bli neder.
I think it might be an interesting subject if everybody agrees.
I'm sure that they agree. I'm sure that they're very interesting. Be'ezrat Hashem will do something about the star sign. Bli neder.
Thank you, Rob, and have a wonderful Shabbos. Thank you very much.
You too, all of you, have a great
Kol
Shabbos.
tov to everybody. Shabbat shalom.
Thanks, Rob.
Shabbat shalom. All the best, everyone.
Thank
Good night.
you. Night.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.